Don't be sorry. This is why we do it, man.
Okay,
To
great.
find out, you know.
Okay, let's we're gonna have to restart. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. All right. Hi there. Lovely to have you again on Ignited Transformation TV, the platform where inspiration is made in its rawest form possible, where lives are changed and people transformed by the renewal of the mind. My name is Stephen Dossou, inspiration speaker and transformational coach, author and co-founder of Leadership University and founder as well of Salesforce Catalyst. And today I bring you one of the most influential persons that I've ever met in my life, which has personally opened a gate for me into diving into public speaking. And this gentleman's name is Mr. Ian Bonnick, who has been all around the world, today an author of Soul Survivor, a book which is, when you read this book, it takes you on a journey of imagination, of inspiration, of motivation. Look, I'm not gonna take anything away from this gentleman today. I guess he'll speak for himself. Welcome, Mr. Ian Bonnick. Hi there, Robert. How's it going?
Great, Stephen. How are you, mate? How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I just want to thank you again. I know you got an extremely tight schedule, but thanks so much again for making the time to come on this platform today and to share your wisdom with the people out there. So with no time to waste, my brother, tell me, what can we know about you? I'm pretty sure people are dying, to hear from you now, where you've been, where you're from, what you've done. Please fill us in.
Yeah, look, my name is Robert Ian Bonnick, and I was born in London, Jamaican parents. Found out recently that my family tree also includes people like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Marcus Garvey. They're all Jamaican Maroons. I only found this out recently, so it explains a few things, funnily enough. So I grew up in London, 2 children's homes from the age of 6 months to the age of 17 and a half or 18, so almost 18 years. And many things happened that I guess didn't go to script, right? And there's a script that we have in life of, what people are like from certain backgrounds, what things they do with themselves, what kind of life that they have. And I learned from everyone around me. I must have seen maybe 100 kids go through that children's home. I learned from most of them what to do, what not to do. I was an introvert, at home, so I was able to look at and see the outcomes of the decisions and the choices that people were making, which was very interesting. And then I managed to combine all that knowledge and learning and so on, and I took that forward to playing basketball at an elite level for my country and traveling around Europe playing basketball. Then later on, I ended up working with superstars like Madonna, the pop superstar, Naomi Campbell, the supermodels, Ava Herzigova, Evangelista Turlington, all of those ones. Ran different businesses in different countries, including New Zealand. Then ended up becoming a motivational speaker and a coach and got to Australia. Ran a business voted number 3 in the world, a club, co-ran that one. And we had an amazing time there, and ended up, having a family of my own, 2 children that was never part of the script, and living now here in Bali. The beautiful Bali. Been here for almost 3 years, and in a way restarting life, and yeah, just new challenges, new perspectives, embracing the beauty and the deeply spiritual nature that this country has.
Wow, amazing, Robert, love it. Robert, one thing that intrigues me, right, it's your journey. I know that there are a lot of people out there, that say they have, inspiring journeys, but coming from where, being brought up in children's home and working with people like Madonna, what was the process like? What did you have to do in order for you to get to those places? And what were the internal battles that you had to fight? Did you, because I know the challenge is when you grow a bit poor is, your mindset. So I know you can get a little bit difficult when you're trying to get into those circles. I'm so curious, what was the process of transformation and how did you navigate it?
Yeah, great question. Look, at the end of the day, I never set out with that plan. I never set out with a plan of, I'm going to have this type of life and I'm going to meet these kinds of people and this is what I'm going to do, you know? I mean, there's, I call it like the 3 pillars of purpose, right?
Okay.
And none of these are better or worse than the other. You know, they're all the same, really. It's just a different place to stand, in a place to stand powerfully. You know, the first pillar of purpose is having no purpose. And that just means for me that, you know, this was a time where I'd take every day as it comes. And I would just have this zest for life, this joy for being alive, knowing that life is precious because I saw people die in front of me. So I know that life is precious. And with this kind of mindset, it was a case of me just embracing anything that came my way and living it fully, right? And always looking at the good. No matter what happened, always looking at the good. The second pillar is like being pushed by something. So growing up in a children's home, you know, I did go through racism and violence and abuse and all this other stuff. So for me, in many ways, becoming an inspirational speaker, you know, I was almost pushed towards it because it was like, well, you know, I want to show people a way in which they can, you know, unshackle their mind to really achieve what they dream of doing. Because I went through the same journey. So that was like, I was pushed to do it through my circumstances growing up. And then the third pillar of purpose is about being pulled by something or being inspired to do something. When you see, you know, often it could be, you know, like you might be watching TV or you might be watching a podcast and something just affects you palpably, you know, viscerally, and maybe it moves you to tears, right? And there's something in there that you can't really put a word to, you can't explain, but it's something that you know you have to do. And not only do you know you have to do it, you're available to do it, and you've got the skills to do it. So guess what? You go out and do it. So these are the 3 pillars of purpose. So then growing up, making that journey or the transition from this kid at home to working with some of these amazing people, you know, like I went through probably the first 2. And I would say that one of the biggest challenges which I had was that, you know, you look at now this guy who's clearly and visibly a black man, right? Who's now 50. And, you know, but that wasn't obvious to me. Like, even though the children's home was pejoratively black, most of my life growing up was spent with my kids at school and they were white. So I was the only black kid at school for the first 14 years. Wow. And so, yeah, it's crazy. So in many ways, I actually thought, you know, that I was a white kid. You know, my values were Caucasian. The way I saw the world was, in a way, through a Caucasian mindset, which is really interesting. So I had all of these different things going on for me. So consequently, I felt very insecure about how I looked. I thought my nose was too wide. I thought my lips were too big. I thought my head was too pointed, right? I thought my eyes were too big. All of these things that I was not comfortable with. So my role models at the time were telling me, you know, to do anything in life, to get anywhere in life, to be anyone in life, you got to look good, right? You got to be a good-looking person or a handsome person, or, you know, that was a prerequisite. If you weren't those things, then you're not going to go anywhere. So I used to put myself down, you know, many, many times for lots of hours in front of a mirror in my hand, pulling myself to pieces, telling myself what I would like to change, what I'd like to do, what I would do with my nose, what I would do with my lips, what I would do with my head, what I'd do with my eyes. I would go deep down that rabbit hole. And one time, what I did, you know, I don't think I ever would have committed suicide. I don't think so, but I definitely thought about it. But I was very, very down, you know, and this was at home, the introverted Rob. At school, I was an extrovert, but that's another story. So what then happened in my lowest moments, I found a voice inside of my head, a voice that we call self-talk. But it wasn't the self-talk that was talking me out, that was putting me down, that was telling me I wasn't good enough or not enough. It was a voice that was supportive, that was warm, that was nurturing. The first time I heard it, it felt like, and that voice said to me, Rob, just look after your skin. Just look after your skin. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? You know, I still laugh to this day because I'm thinking like, what the hell did that mean? But it wasn't about what the content, it was a context. It was a voice I found that was supporting me, that was raising me up. So now the reason why I bring up that story is because, you know, I then started to realize, you know, look, there's other things at play here. There's other voices in my mind here that I can decide to pay attention to or not. It became a choice that I could make every day, every moment of every day. Why is that important? That's important because slowly, I began to come out of myself. And at school, I was an extrovert because I was great at sport. And when you're great at sport, you're put on a pedestal. So I stepped into another character like an actor does. And I became an extrovert at school, introvert at home. So an extroverted introvert or an introverted extrovert, right? I'm comfortable with both.
Yeah.
And so what began to happen is I began to externalize. Externalize meaning, you know, like, you know, if the outside world tells me that I'm handsome, or tells me that I look a certain way, or tells me that I'm acceptable, then I will learn to accept myself. And this was the filter that I was going through life with. And then what happened was that, you know, I got these opportunities to fall into modeling, right? That's another story. But I fell into opportunities. People were asking me, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I was like, okay, whatever. I'll give it a shot. Why? Because I was pillar number one.
Yeah.
Pillar number one. That was zest for life. Yeah. That was to say yes to everything. That was look for the good in everything. Yeah. So someone said to me, hey, Rob, why don't you try this modeling thing? Yes. So I went for it, right? I went for it. Now, I think half of this is being in the right place at the right time. Part of it is being into sport, right? So why do I say this? Because, you know, being in the right place at the right time, because somebody asked me, sport helped me because I was very fit, very buff. And at that time, models that were doing well were guys who were buff and then were fit looking, who were into sport. I happened to fulfill that part of it, right? Still, I didn't feel comfortable about how I looked. So then fast forward 2 or 3 years, I find myself in Milan using the same attitude. I find that I backdoor my way into the best model agency in Milan and one of the best model agencies in the world called Model Plan, Ricardo Guy. And how that happened is a whole nother story. But I find myself there. Consequently, now I find myself doing shows with Naomi Campbell, Evangelista, Marcus Schreckenberg, Christy Turlington, right, Ava Herzegovina. Yeah. And these were the first supermodels. That term supermodels was basically meant that people could make not only a living, but become celebrities in their own right through the business of modeling. So they were called supermodels. So I was alongside these guys, walking with them, working with them. Now, for all intents and purposes, it's saying, well, okay, so you believe that you're standing alongside, you're working with the best looking people in the world, right? This is validation for you. Yeah. Validation saying that you are enough in the terms of how you look, right? Yeah. So that's what I thought. But what I realized very soon after was that wasn't the case at all. I was at my most insecure in that environment, not secure. I didn't feel validated at all. I felt invalidated. And then not for all of the people that I was working with, but for a lot of those people, what I realized was that on the outside, they look good, smell good, but on the inside, they are as counterproductive as I was, if not worse. So they saw themselves as ugly. They saw themselves as not good enough. They saw themselves as having a low self-esteem when these were people who were dominating the scene. Exactly. Dominating the scene. And this began when I saw that, then I started to realize that the answer isn't out there. The answer is in here. So in other words, I have better use of my time to look within than to look without. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing, Robert. Such an inspiration tale. I mean, what surprises me the most is when you say those people that we actually looking at from outside thinking, they've got everything they want or they need. Actually, those are the people that at the same time, when they are in four walls, they are feeling, worthless, basically. They are struggling, they are fighting against the three demons that I
Yeah.
call self-doubt, fear, and low self-esteem. It's really, really
Yes.
surprising, really surprising. And now,
Mm.
I mean, I just want you to quickly summarize those three pillars that you named first. You said first one is having no purpose, but have the zest for life. Yeah. And then second
Yes.
one, you said have a pull. So have something
A
that pulls
push.
you.
A push. A
Okay.
push.
Having a
Yeah. A push away from. Yeah.
okay, something that push, which means that remember where you come from, right? Remember where you started off. Is that what it is?
That's right.
Okay.
Absolutely. So it's a push, a way to solve a problem that you had, for example, when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a problem with bullying
Mm-hmm.
or being bullied,
Mm-hmm.
then I could be pushed towards spending most of my time in a gym,
Exactly.
spending my time to become a martial arts instructor,
Yeah.
spending my time to become what we call a hard nut back in the UK, a hard nut, which means I'm never going to be bullied again.
Yeah.
But that was pushed by the way that I grew up. So I was pushed towards it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the final one is being pulled towards or inspired by. And that can come as something that comes in a way from left of field.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that drops into your awareness, and then you suddenly realize it's like one day someone switches on the light and you get it. It's like, wow, I know what I'm here to do. Mm-hmm. And you get on and you do it.
Mm-hmm. Amazing, amazing. I mean, so basically, instead of taking your challenges that you had back then and just make them an excuse for you to stay down, you actually took them and made them a motivation, a source of inspiration for you to go out there and change your circumstances. That's really brilliant, Robert. That's really brilliant. Yeah. So anyway, if you have just come on board on Ignited Transformation TV. Today, I'm hanging out with Robert Ian Bonnick, all the way from UK, currently living in Bali. He has two amazing daughters. He's an inspirational speaker and an inspirational coach and author of Soul Survivor. And his book currently is featured among one of the best-selling books in the world. So, Robert, please tell us, I read the book, right? But for those who haven't read it, tell us, what is this book, Soul Survivor, about? It's got such a deep title to it.
Yeah, so Soul Survivor, How an Abandoned Child Goes from Nothing to Everything, published by New Holland. And the way I would describe it is that, I'll describe it in two ways. The first way is that, it's a book which is showing you, that wherever you start in your life is not important. It's where you're going that has more importance. So it's not about where you start in your life, but where you're going that's important, right? That's a message of the book that essentially is threaded throughout the book. Okay. The second way I would describe it is that I'll describe it in thirds. So the first third is about what life was like for me growing up in a children's home in London, or two of them. And because a lot of people don't know what it's like. They don't know what the life is like. And even our children's home was run very, very well, there was still a lot of bad stuff that happened. There was some great stuff that happened. So it kind of sets the scene for what life is like, or what life was like for me. Yeah. Now, the second part of the book, I refer to as a first pillar. It's a first pillar, second, third. So what that is that, it's what you are able to achieve when you decide to pull off that ceiling of self-doubt, that ceiling, that invisible ceiling that limits us, that we decide to put on ourselves or decide to keep there. When we remove that, well, let's see what we can achieve. And during that time was when I had some of the most extraordinary experiences in my life, like working with the supermodels Madonna, business for #3 in the world, and all these incredible experiences, playing basketball for my country, traveling around the world. And that's the second third. The final third of the book is more of a how-to. Okay. And it provides these what I call these 5 keys. And these 5 keys, if followed, then it literally is the roadmap for you to move from a life of lack to a life of abundance, or a life of struggle to a life of living in flow, Or for me personally, it was moving from feeling that I was unloved to feeling that I was loved, you know? And it's the processes, right? The methodology, the techniques, the practical section that you can apply to your own life.
Wow, amazing. So what you're saying is that anybody, literally anybody from any walk of life can just take the book, go through it, practice those keys that you put in there and free themselves, you know, from whatever invisible chain they put themselves in. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you know, like all of this stuff, you know, what it's really about, no matter who you follow, no matter what you do, it's about your willingness. You know, it's about how much do you want it?
Yeah.
You know, how much do you want it really?
Yeah.
Because if you want it, this gives you, you know, like the way which I put it is I provide, you know, value and inspiration for those who want to take action. You know, value and inspiration for those who want to take action. Last time, providing value and inspiration for those who want to take action. So you got to want to take action. If you're that kind of a person that you want to take action, you want to change, because, you know, like I didn't get to achieve those things. Sure, I was in pillar number 1, but I was driven by the zest for life. I was driven to be that, you know, and I came across hardships and all this other stuff. I felt driven, you know, to overcome them. So for me, it was a case of, I'm going to get through this one way or the other, you know, like who's got the best strategy to help me to get through where I am right now. So what that does is that if you're in that position where you've had enough, right, and you really want to make a change, but really want to make a change, then that book will get you there. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. If you're in a place where you're on the fence, look, reading that book is good because, you know, it can inspire you to see a different picture. And, you know, like for me, this process didn't happen overnight. You know, when I look back, I realized that there were certain steps that occurred, but the most important thing was that, you know, beginning to realize, you know, that things don't have to be the way that they are. So if that's what you get from reading the book, Soul Survivor, How the Abandoned Child Goes From Nothing to Everything, if that's what you get, you know, that, hey, my life doesn't have to be like that, then that's enough. Because each of these things, you know, act as, you know, when you look back again, you'll find that things were led up to things, you know, so steps were led to steps. And all you need to focus on is the next step. The next step.
Amazing. Really, really interesting. So, Robert, I mean, having been what you've been through, having accomplished the things you have accomplished thus far, it's no secret that your story is very amazing, right? But, you know, I mean, you have those people that they have a desire, right? Just like how you said it before, like they want to write the book, but they don't know where to start. They don't know, you know, I mean, what should be the structure of the book, what they should write first, let alone packaging that book together and, you know, hopefully getting into one of some best-selling books, if that's possible at all. So I know that you've been, you know, teaching and coaching hundreds of people about how to turn their story, you know, into a winning book, right? And can you please, you know, elaborate a little bit on that, so that people that are watching this from around the world, they can take something, just a little something from what you're about to give them, and they can try to run with it, then request for your support when needed.
Great, absolutely, would love to. So turn your story into a book. You know, it was done out of inspiration and frustration.
Okay.
So the book. So Soul Survivor, How the Abandoned Child Goes From Nothing to Everything, is an extension of a keynote that I call Man in the Mirror. So if you remember from the story before, I used to have a mirror close to my face and pulling myself apart. Well, that was me being pushed, right? I was pushed into doing a keynote about it to overcome it, right? So, but what I realized in going through that, and I've written 2 other books, by the way, but in going through that book, I realized how many people are stopped by themselves. So what do I mean by that? So I've met so many authors in waiting with amazing stories to tell, as all of us do, right? Yet they've been working on their book for a year or 8 months or 2 years or 4 years, you know, and they were getting caught up on all this stuff that is just not important. But the problem is that, you know, like, I believe that all of us, you know, have the ability to create a positive dent in the universe. And a positive dent in the universe, when we put all of these together, has got the power to create a tidal wave of positivity and great outcomes for a lot of people living on planet Earth. Yeah. So writing a book, doing a podcast, speaking publicly, doing a workshop, all of these are ways for us, you know, to positively impact the lives of others, right? Writing a book is an incredible journey because when you write a book, you know, like, it can't be manipulated, it can't be changed. It's your reader gets exactly what you meant with the words that you wanted to use. Mm-hmm. It's entirely up to you, mm-hmm. which is an incredible process. So in going through all this, feeling people's frustration and like, you know, and disappointment or failure, you know, I wrote my book on a mobile phone, 90% of it from the front seat of an Avanza when we first got to Bali, with my kids screaming in the back, front passenger seat. And I did that in 10 weeks. And I spent 1 hour for 5 days a week doing that. And I finished it in 10 weeks. Now, when I tell that to people who've been working on their book for a year or 2 years or 3 years, 5 years or longer, they look at me in disbelief. And they say, well, how the hell did you do that? Yeah. So then out of those reasons, right, the frustration people going through, the fact that they're depriving the world of an incredible story and experience that can uplift and change the lives of many, the fact that, you know, it's not difficult to do in a short period of time if you're organized. For all of those reasons, that's why I put together Turn Your Story into a book, and it gives you an incredibly robust roadmap that's fun, interactive, to basically turn your story into a book in 10 weeks or less. Yeah. Now, some people take 3 to 6 months is probably the average. It doesn't matter, but, you know, if it's under 6 months, you're still going to get it done. If it's longer than a year, I think people are going to struggle big time. So that's what the course is essentially about. And the last thing that I'll add to it, what makes it quite revolutionary, is that the 20 years of coaching, life coaching and things which I've been doing, we combine, you know, the methodology of writing your book with the structure that I use, along with the coaching, which is fantastic because, you know, we start things with this amazing, like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And soon enough, life can get in the way. Yeah. And we're like, oh, and we start to fall back and wane, and then we don't complete it. Yeah. With the coaching, what it does is it shows you the biggest reasons why people fail in turning their story into a book, right? And then it gives you the solution to overcoming yourself to give you the best chance to finish your book and pick up some incredible life principles along the way that you can use to achieve any other success in your life in an area that's important to you. Because the principles that you use are good for turning your story into a book, as well as all different areas of your life. And that's why I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that last part, Robert, because, you know, I was reading a book from Dr. Miles Monroe a few days ago. It was speaking about the power of discipline. And he says that when you develop discipline in one particular area of your life, that affects all the other areas of your life, you know. So that element of discipline is what you can use to apply to many other things. And I think that's what you just mentioned there. It's really, really great, inspiring. So Robert, where do we find this soul survival? How do we get in touch with you? This amazing structure course, you know, that you put together that is enable people out there now to put their story, you know, with less frustration perhaps, but obviously enough motivation. Where do we find those things? And definitely tell us, how do we get hold of you?
Yeah, great. So Turn Your Story into a book is a Facebook group as well. So turn your story into a book. Check it out on Facebook. Last time, turn your story into a book. Just join that Facebook group. All the details are there. And then my website, which is my name, Robert Ian Bonnick, robertianbonnick.com. You'll find links to it there also. And then I'll be doing a live event this Friday, 7 p.m. Bali time. That will be the 31st of July, 7 p.m. from Tropical Nomad. And that will be on my YouTube as well as on my Facebook page. So there's some great ways to get me. Other than that, I'm on all of the platforms. So you can private message me in any of those platforms. But tune into that live event. It gives you the A to Z of how to turn your story into a book. And then out of that, at the end of it, you'll have a few choices. You can, 3 choices. One choice is that you can grab that information, run with it, start your book, get it going, and you will have success. Number 2, there's an online course I'm just putting the finishing touches to now. It's an incredible online course, it's a great course. I love it. 30, 40 videos in there, walking you through the whole process. You get inspiration every day. You get a good feeling. You'll be laughing a lot of the time, right? You'll be laughing with me, if not at me, and that's fine too. Yeah. So that will be available for you, and it's a very reasonable price, that one. Or there are some of us who love the one-on-one coaching, and I work with some incredible people who are changing the world on a one-on-one basis. And look, with that, you get me, you get all of me, you get the inspiration that comes. I mean, I've realized I've got a great skill in making titles of books. All right, when I listen to someone's story, just like you listen, Stephen, and you're very good at this as well, is that I just get downloads of what that book is and what it can be called, and it just flows, right? But all I'm doing is listening, just listening intently, and we all have the answers within us, right? We all have the answers, and when someone is able to listen to you, they just repeat back what you've said, and you're like, that's brilliant. It's like, well, you gave me that, and that's the title for the book. Yeah. But also in that one-on-one process, we get into branding. If you want to monetize this and create an income out of it, we get into all of that as well. So it's really powerful. So they are the 3 options that you can take. And this Friday the 31st of July, 7 p.m., that's GMT +8. That's Bali time, or Australian time is 9 p.m. A bit late for you guys, but I'm sure you can make it. Tune in and join that Facebook group. Turn your story into a book.
There you have it. There you have it from Robert Ian Bonnick. Look, this platform is called Ignite the Transformation TV. It was inspired after I put together Ignite the Transformation Summit, of which Robert was one of the amazing speakers, and it was an amazing summit. I was inspired. 12 o'clock at night, I was like, you know what, I'm doing this, and I took 10 days to put it together, from getting speakers to advertising. All the concept was done in 10 days. And next to that, again, I was inspired to start this Ignite Transformation TV, which I bring the most influential people that I've come across, but also that I am very much convinced of that when they share their lessons with you, when they share their strategies, the things they've had to do in their journeys to knock at the door of success successfully, right? Definitely you get something out of it. So today we were with Mr. Robert Ian Bonnick, an inspirational speaker and an inspirational speaker coach, my man, author of Soul Survivor and How to Turn Your Story into let me add this one, into an amazing book. Come on, sign me up for my 3rd book, Robert. So Robert, we're gonna
love to work with you.
What golden words can you just drop into the soul of these lovely people that are watching us right now, that they can take for the day and just embody it and make something great with it?
Sure. Look, that's an easy one. It's not where you start in life, but it's where you're going that's important. So it's not where you start in life, it's where you're going that's important. And what you learn about yourself along the way.
Thank you. Thank you. It actually reminds me of the quote of Nido Kuben, which says that where you start means nothing. Where you start or where you have been means nothing. You know, it merely determines where you will be. And all is your choice. All is entirely up to you. Nelson Mandela, you are the captain of your soul, right? Thank you so much, Robert, for this amazing time. My name is Stephen Dossou, inspirational speaker and transformational coach, author of Be Transform, a 10-week journey to your true self, co-founder of Leadership University, and founder of Self-Hosted Catalyst. It is my joy, it is my pride to get you to be inspired so that you can aspire to take the decisions which can lead to amazing actions to change your life, change your circumstances, and make your dream come true. Remember, you too can be great. See you on top. If you want to speak, if you want to be interviewed, or maybe you want to refer someone, do not be shy. Log on to www.ignitetransformation.site/TV and follow the instructions. Remember, you too can be great. See you on top. See you next Wednesday, 2 p.m. Singapore time. Bye-bye.